So thank y'all so much for coming today. I cannot believe school's already starting, but here we are. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Mrs. Smith. I will be your Algebra 1 teacher. I actually live in Galveston, and this is my 5th year as a teacher. This is my 3rd year teaching at TOPS. So I really enjoy it, and I used to be a college softball coach. That's kind of a fun fact about me. So let's go over some class expectations and just ways to help you be successful in this class. So a lot of you already logged in yesterday, you watched the videos, you did your homework. That was awesome. So the biggest thing that I could recommend for y'all in being successful in this class is to check your announcements and log into your course every single day. So every day you'll have a module that will pop up that is on the schedule for today. Okay. And so you'll have what I put in the course for you. This is like an example of what it looks like, but you'll have the date and then the lesson that you are supposed to be working on. So it, like yesterday's, it was 1.03. Okay. And then I will list out for you the graded assignments that are due. Okay, so that way you know exactly what lesson you're supposed to watch and what assignment you're supposed to do. And so you want to make sure that you go to the modules every single day and watch the videos. So the videos, Anya, just a second and I'll go over that actually. It's not, those are two different things. So the videos, actually, I know last year you had some videos that were just like standard videos. This year, the videos that are in your course we went through the team of algebra teachers and we redid every single video. So we redid everything, re-recorded it, put new problems in there, did new lessons. So that way you would feel like you were hearing directly from us and we were preparing you for the STAR test. Okay, so please make sure to watch those videos because we only have class once a week. And so, yeah, we're not using USA Test Prep this year, Sky. We're going to use a different platform, but it's not ready yet. Okay, so please make sure you're watching those videos because we only meet together once a week and we will meet on Tuesdays and we're actually going to go over stuff from the previous week. So it's not going to be new material. Okay. So that's why you need to make sure that you're getting that material on your own. Okay. So in the course, you're going to have 3 attempts on all of your quizzes. You have unlimited attempts on your homeworks and you have 2 attempts on your tests. So you only have 1 live class a week. So we have 1 whole group. So that'll be every Tuesday from 10 to 10:45. Now we will start next week with our small group sessions. So you might get invited to a small group. And those are required. And then, so you might have a small group session a week, but we're only going to meet all together once a week. Okay, so what goes in the grade book? We're going to have quizzes and tests, and then homework assignments. And if there's a project or a discussion, that will go in there as well. All right, so our schedule on Mondays, if you are in my small group, we will have small group from 10 to 10:45. Tuesday, y'all will be in here from 10 to 10:45. So you don't need to worry about the Wednesday group. Thursday, we'll have another small group from 10 to 10:45. And then Friday, I don't know why Friday's not in here, but Friday, we also have small groups from 9 to 9:45 and 10 to 10:45. So if you want to sign up for one-on-one tutoring, there is a link in the course. And what that will do is it will take you to my sign up page and you will be able to sign up for a day and a time of tutoring. So I have tutorings on Mondays, Tuesdays from 11 to 11:45, and then Wednesdays from 9 to 10. You can also come to office hours from 9 to 9:45 on Mondays and then 9:30 to 10 on Thursdays. So And if those times don't work, always just send an email and we can work something out to find a time that works for you. All right, so if you're struggling, how to get help. So first, make sure that you're watching the videos in your modules. Okay, always attend whole group, because normally what I do is in whole group, especially before a test, is I do a review. And the review problems are basically the same problems that are on your test. I just changed the numbers a little bit. So those are really helpful. Make sure to attend any small groups. You can use TutorMe. You can always send questions via email to me, and I can always make a little video for you and send it back, or just write back an answer. And then you can also attend office hours or tutoring as well. So that is all that I have for you just about the course itself. So I will, okay. So for grading purposes, what will happen is, like yesterday, 1.03 was due. So at 4 o'clock, I go in and I put in the grades. And then if you didn't do it, I go ahead and put in that 0 for you. So that way you are aware that, okay, this was due today and I didn't do it, so I need to go do it. If you turn that graded homework in, I will grade it like Thursday or Friday of this week. So if it's late, then I will grade it, but I just have other things to grade. So like today, you have a quiz in 1.03. So at 4 o'clock, I'll go in and enter the zeros for those of you that have not taken it yet. And then the quizzes will automatically update themselves. But if it's been a couple days and I have not updated your homework grade or your test grade or whatever it is, please let me know. So that's kind of how that's going to work. There was a couple questions. I'm going to open up the chat in case there's any questions about the class so far, and then we'll start on some review. So Angel, I did get your email. I think you just sent it this morning. So if you have a low grade right now, it's probably because you either did not do the homework from yesterday or the beginning of the year assessment. Okay, so if you did it, then if it's still showing up as a 0 in your grade book, it's probably just because you did it after I had already entered grades. So I will get to it. Okay, so if the videos didn't work, will you let me know? Will you send me an email and let me know? And I can send those back for you. Thank you. Okay. So any other questions just about the logistics of class or anything? The Boya is not the same as 1.03 homework. So there is a couple things in Class Kick right now. The 1.03 homework is just about solving multi-step equations. Okay, thank you, Laurel. I'll get to that. I'll grade that as soon as I can. The beginning of the year assessment is 44 questions, and you need to make sure that you do all of them. So I know that you're not going to know most of it. We're not expecting you to know any of it. And so we just need to be able to have some sort of measurement for how much you grow. So you'll take the assessment. Some of you have already taken it. You'll take it, and then when we take the STAR test in the spring, we'll be able to see how many of those standards you mastered. Okay, Ramsey, so you're going to receive assignments and the actual math classes. So I think what you mean is is there going to be a live class like this every day? There's not going to be a live class like this every single day. So you will meet with me on Tuesdays only. But what I would normally do in a live class, I have already gone in the course and recorded it. So I basically teach you the lessons every single day, but we just don't do it in a live setting. So there's videos in every single module that you're working through. And those are the lessons. Okay, that's like your math class. So I tried to keep them a little bit shorter. Like it's not going to be 45 minutes. I tried to keep them like between 10 and 15 minutes for you. Yes. Zachary, do you have a question?
Yeah, so it's basically not going to be like last year where we had the live class every day of the week.
Right. So high school's a little bit different because you have so many different classes, and we're trying to. There's just so many class offerings that you can take. So it's not just like everybody's in English, everybody's in the same math class. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, because last year I had there was 98, 115 students in my math class at one point.
Yeah.
Every day. So
Right. And so we'll probably get up to about 100, maybe 80 to 100 in here. But again, your attendance isn't necessarily required in your live CCs. But I would always recommend coming because you can ask questions.
So. Yeah, and you also have to have the minutes for the school.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's see. How many times? Okay, so the STAR test will be in the spring, and you basically will take it until you pass it. So you'll take it, and this whole year, like the entire course, is to prepare you for the STAR test. And so hopefully you'll just take it once in May. It's usually the first week of May, and that'll be it. But if you don't...
Wait, so we only have one STAR test?
No, well, it depends on what classes you're in. So there's a STAR test. I think for most freshmen, there's 4 because you have algebra, biology, English 1, and U.S. history.
Yeah, I had 4 last year.
Yeah. So this should be the last year that you have 4. After that, I think it's just English 2 that you have to take, and then you're pretty much done with STAR tests. So if you're out of state, yeah, it's always in person. If you're out of state, there is a retest date like in June. And then they also have like other testing days in May. But I would if it's at all possible, I would really try and take it in May when it's scheduled, because if not, you're going to go like a month, 2 months without refreshing and reviewing your math. And so it's just going to be a lot more difficult. I think you can sign up to take the SAT on your own, but that would be a really great question for your counselor. All right. Well, I am going to start with some review. This is probably going to be pretty easy for y'all, but I just wanted to go over a little bit of review and kind of show you what a normal class session would be like. So let's start off with some easy. So I'm not asking for the answer here. I'm asking how would you read this if you were reading this to me? What does this? What does it mean? Yeah, good, Alan. Exactly. So this is 6 divided by 2. So what I'm trying to get at here is that we want to get in the habit of, yeah, good, Anya, of it's not 6 over 2. Okay, so when we see fractions now in algebra, it almost always means division. Okay, so, and you're exactly right. 6 divided by 2 would be 3. Exactly. All right, so now I want you to remember your order of operations. I don't know if you guys use this in your middle school classes, PEMDAS. So we're going to want to do everything in parentheses first. Then we do exponents, multiplication or division, addition or subtraction. So the first step that we're going to do is get rid of the parentheses. So we would have 2 minus 3, and then 2 plus 4 is 6. So that would be times 6. We're going to leave it in the parentheses because that means multiplication. All right, so now here's where we're starting to see a few different answers. The next step would have been exponents, but we don't have any. So now we have to go with multiplication or division. So this 3 that's right next to the 6, it's actually -3. That means multiplication. Okay, so we have to do multiplication first. So the second step is going to be 2 minus 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, so I saw some of you starting to go with -6, but 2 minus 3, that's subtraction. That's going to be the last step we're going to do. That's okay. That's why we're reviewing it. And then finally, 2 minus 18 is going to be -16. That's okay. You didn't forget. We just need a refresher. It's been a while. Yeah, that's okay. So that is order of operations working forward. So what we're going to start doing in algebra, and what we started with in our lesson yesterday, is we're basically going to start working backwards. So we're going to undo the order of operation to find or solve for a variable. So I want you to think here, what are we call them opposites. They're really inverse operations. But what would be the opposite of addition? So if you were if you were trying to undo addition that was currently happening, yeah, we would subtract, okay? And then obviously the opposite of subtraction would be addition. Very good. That's an O. All right, so then the opposite or undoing multiplication, good, would be division. And the opposite of division would be good, multiplication. All right, good. So today, what we're going to start just review is we're going to go over how to solve linear equations in one variable. So there's one missing, there's like a letter. Most cases it's going to be x. And we want to find out what number for x would make the statement true. So what we're doing is solving for x. All right, so some rules that we have for solving one-step and multi-step equations. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So if you're trying to undo -2 on the left side, you have to add 2, but you have to add 2 to both sides, okay? Because it's an equal sign, so we have to keep that equality. We're also going to simplify the equation as much as you can. So this means combining like terms. We're going to use PEMDAS backwards to know where to start. So normally we would be doing multiplication and division, then addition and subtraction. When we're solving equations, we're going to go backwards. Sure, you could call it SADMEP, maybe. Sure. So we're going to do addition and subtraction first. We're going to undo those. Or in other words, another way to think about it is like you're unwrapping the present. We're just working backwards. So let's go ahead. We're going to start with, oops, I want to fill that in. Okay. I'm going to start with this one over here on the right first. So I'm going to do this one to show you, and then I will have you try the next one. So remember, we're going to go backwards. So I want to ask myself first, it says solve for the given variable. What is my variable here? X, very good. So Alan, thanks for asking. The letters on the bottom corner are like part of our new Stride model. And so what we're doing this R is like relate. So I'm showing you how this relates, how we're going to use this in math, our objective. Okay, So my variable is x. I've got my variable. And now I'm asking, okay, what is happening to x? Well, x is getting 6 added to it. So if I want to undo adding 6, what should I do? What would be the opposite of adding 6? Yes, subtract 6. And if we remember our rules, whatever we do on one side, we have to do on the other. So I would get 6 minus 6, which is just 0. X equals 14 minus 6 is 8. And that's it. That's my answer. The cool thing about algebra is almost all the time you can check your answer to make sure you're 100% correct. So what I would do is rewrite my problem that was in the original statement. And I'm saying that x is 8. It equals 8. So that means wherever x was, I can plug in 8 and I should get a true statement. So 14 equals 14. Does 14 equal 14? Yes. So then I would know that that answer is correct. Okay, so let's talk about this one. So here's x, and I want to know what's happening to it. So this is like adding a negative 6, or in other words, subtracting 6. So how would I get rid of this negative 6? Yeah, plus 6. So then x equals 20. And again, I could plug in 20, subtract 6 from it, and I would get 14. So this is called one-step equations because there's one step that we do, and then we get our value for x. Yes, you're right, Liv. So we have to add 6 because if we subtracted 6, negative 6 minus 6 would be negative 12. So that wouldn't cancel anything out. You're right. Okay, so now let's talk about what if it's not addition or subtraction that we're doing. So let's look over here. Here's my x. If there is a number like 15 right next to your x, that means it's being multiplied. So I want you to try to get in the habit of when you see this, instead of just saying 15x, I want you to think this is 15 times x. So if x is being multiplied by 15, good Ramses, good Sky, what would I need to do? How could I undo multiplication? Exactly. So I'm going to divide by 15, and I have to do this on both sides. So x equals negative 45 divided by 15 is going to be negative 3. Yep, so a negative divided by a positive is going to still be a negative. Okay, so now over here, remember our warm-up question. Instead of saying this is x over 15, we would say this is x divided by 15. Yes, so when we use that word division, it helps us to know, oh, okay, this is easy. I just need to multiply now. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply, and we actually call this the reciprocal. So I'm going to write that word up here, reciprocal. And what that means is that you flip the number. So this would really be like 1x. There's like an imaginary 1 in front of this x. So this would be 1x divided by 15. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, or by 15 over 1. Okay, and remember, you have to do that on both sides. Okay, so when we multiply fractions, we just multiply straight across the top, right? So these are going to cancel. We're left with x equals. So negative 45 times 15, you can use your calculator. Remember, a negative times a positive is going to still give you a negative. Okay, yep, and that's exactly right. We're going to get negative 675. Exactly. Okay, so I want to do a little check. How are we feeling about this review? Is it coming back to you? Do we feel pretty good? Okay, yay. If anyone is like a little bit confused still, you can send me like your questions. Tell me if there's anything that if I'm going too fast or where I lost you. If you have any questions. All right. So I want to now, yay, I'm glad, Liv. That's okay, Anya. It's summer. Summer does that to us. All right. So do I have 2 people? Raise your hand if you would like to write the steps to this on the board. Okay, awesome. Adrena, will you do the first one? I'm going to give you whiteboard tools. Does anyone else want to try to work this out on the board? The second one? Yay, thank you, Amara. I'm going to give you whiteboard tools and you can do this one. All right, so while they're doing that on the board, I want y'all to be working this out on your own paper, and then we will go over it. Oh, thank you. Okay, I meant to erase my highlighter and I erased yours, but yes, you're right. You are going to multiply next. That's exactly right. And you're going to multiply by the reciprocal of this fraction. So this was 2/3. So you're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which means you're going to flip it. Okay? That on both sides. Liv, it's 6.1, not 61. Thank you, Maisie. Okay. So let's look at what Adrena did. She did a great job. Yes, good job, Amara. X was being divided by 6.1. So to undo the division, we're going to multiply both sides by 6.1 and you would get 109.8. Very good. Yay. Y'all tell Adrena that she did awesome in the chat. You did a great job. Alrighty. So then Amara, we had 2/3 times X. So when we see this fraction here, this is where we're going to use that reciprocal. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So when you this is 2/3 times X. When you divide fractions, it's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Like that is how we divide. So these cancel, right? 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. So that cancels out to be 1x or just x. Over here, -14 times 3 would be -42. And then this would be like a -14 over 1. So 1 times 2 would be 2. And then we go ahead and simplify. So what is negative 42 divided by 2? It's going to be negative 21. So Amara did a great job. Y'all tell her how great she did. Thank you so much for volunteering. Y'all, I appreciate that. Okay, so those were just stepping it up a little bit, getting a little more challenging. Okay, so let's talk about what happens. First of all, actually, let's look at this one. What is the difference in these two problems? I'm going to give you a second to look at them. What is
Can I say the difference?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, the 9n and 16 are swapped.
Yes.
And
okay,
it's backwards, yeah.
Yeah, Adrena, and you're exactly right, Zachary. And Adrena, you're right. There are two variables. Now, they're the same. They're both in. But like Zachary was saying, over here, we have both variables start off on the same side. Over here, they're on opposite sides. So let's talk about what the difference is and how do we solve them. So first thing, we have 9n plus 7n equals 16. Since these both have the same variable, I can add the coefficients, that's the number in front of n, I can add those together. Because they're on the same side, I add them together. I would do whatever the sign is. The sign here is addition. So I would add. Exactly, Anya. So I would get 16n equals 16. And then this becomes one of the same easy problems we just did. Exactly. Maisie, n is going to equal 1. So what do I need to do here? I have 16 times n equals 16. So how do I get n by itself? Can y'all tell me in the chat? Good, exactly. I'm going to divide by 16. Excellent. Okay. So now let's look at this one on the right. This is a little different because I have 9 times n equals 7 times n plus 16. So the first thing I need to do is get all of my variables on the same side. Okay, so if I have a positive 7n on the right, over here, and I want to move it over here to be with my 9n, how would I move a negative 7n? What should I do? Any thoughts? What would I add or subtract? Okay, good, Antoine. I'm going to subtract. Good. So I'm going to subtract 7n from both sides because I want to move this positive 7n. So I want this one to cancel out, but I want it to move over to the other side. So 7n minus 7n is going to become 0. So over on the right side, I'm just left with 16. Now, remember what we just did on the left-hand side. This is an n, 9n, minus 7n. So they both have the same variable n. So I can go ahead and subtract those. So 9 minus 7 would be 2. So I would have 2n. Did I lose anybody there? Does anyone have any questions before we finish solving this one? Okay. So then I'm going to divide everything by 2, which means that n is going to be 8. So what did you notice when I worked the two problems? Can anyone summarize that for me, maybe for a friend who might still be a little confused? What was the difference? What did I do on the left versus what did I do on the right? Yeah, Thank you, Antoine. So on the left, I combined like terms, and they were on the same side of the equal sign. Yeah, and Sarah, exactly. So because I didn't have all of my variables on the same side of the equal sign on the right-hand problem over here, I had to get them all to the same side first. Okay, so Mariana, what I did on the right-hand side, the second one, is I have 9 times n equals 7 times n plus 16. So I have to get all of my variables on the same side. So I had this positive 7n, and I needed to get it on the same side as this 9n. So in order for me to move it, I have to do the opposite of what's happening. So this is a positive 7n being added to 16. So the opposite of adding 7n would be to subtract 7n. So I subtract 7n from the right-hand side and the left-hand side. When I do that, 9n minus 7n is going to be 2n. So 2 times n equals 16. And from there, I just solve this like our normal one-step equations. 2 times n equals 16. So what's the opposite of multiplying by 2? I'm going to divide everything by 2. Here's another thing real quick that we will practice. You're welcome. So for each of these, you're going to tell me, I'll take some volunteers, or if one person wants to volunteer, that's fine. You're going to look at this problem. I'll do the first one with you. Y equals 57 minus 2y. So I have to ask myself, am I going to combine like terms, meaning combine like terms, when would I do that? When the variables are on the same side. Variables on same side. I'm combining like terms. I use the inverse when variables are on opposite sides. So for the first one, variables are on the opposite side, so I'm going to do the inverse operation. Okay, just to show you, the inverse operation would be adding 2y. Okay, so y plus 2y. This is like a one imaginary 1 in front of the y. 1 plus 2 would be 3. So I'd get 3y equals 57, and I would divide by 3. All right, so let's look at the next one. What do you think for that one? Am I doing inverse, or am I combining like terms? So let's look at our variable. Our variable is w. But the w's are on different sides of the equal sign. Yes, so Ureli, you would do distributive property first. So 7 times w and 7 times 2, exactly. And then I would need to do the inverse operation because I have 4w over here and 7w over here. So I would have to do the inverse to get them on the same side. All right, we're going to call this one number 3. So let's look at number 3. What do you think for number 3? Oh, that's okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm going to number them now so that way we're not confused. Look at number 3. Am I combining or doing the inverse? Exactly. Good job combining. Laurel, that's a really good question. Inverse is PEMDAS backwards. Yep. So inverse means I am finding my variable and I need to move it to the other side. So I'm going to do the inverse operation so that it will move. That's a good question. Okay, what about number 4? U minus 4u. Exactly. Good. They're on the same side, so that's going to be a combine like terms. What about number 5? Good. Y'all are really getting the hang of this. Good, good, good. And then number 6, I have a 12v over here and 5v on the opposite side of the equal sign, so I have to move one of them. Good. That would be inverse. Very good. Okay. Let's do this one together on the left, and then the last one that I'll have you do on your own is on the right, and then that will be all we have for today. So we can find the solution to this equation. So what is going to be my first step? What does it mean when this 2 is right next to this expression in parentheses? What does that indicate that I need to do? There's a name for that property, but yes, most of you will probably just give me multiply. Exactly. So that's called the distributive property. Distribute means to multiply. I don't know if you remember that from last year, but so I'm going to take this 2 and multiply it by everything inside. So 2 times y is going to give me 2y. 2 times -8 is going to give me -16 equals 3 times y. All right, so this goes back to the slide we were just doing. If the variables are on the same side, we're going to combine like terms. If they're on different sides, we're going to use inverse operations. And we always want to move usually the smaller one. So 2y and 3y, they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. So good, Sky, we're going to use inverse operations to move the 2y. So this is a positive 2y. So how am I going to move that 2y? Yeah, good, Alan. I'm going to subtract 2y. And I know that y'all are just typing it in saying subtract 2, but don't forget when you're working this out, remember to keep your variable with you. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 2y. 2y minus 2y is 0. So I'm just left with -16 equals 3 minus 2 is 1. So 1y or just y. So y equals -16. Okay, Mila, that's a good question. I got the 16 because this 2 at the beginning of the problem was right next to this parentheses. So that means that everything inside the parentheses has to get multiplied by 2. So I did 2 times y, which was 2y. And then I did 2 times -8, which was -16. All right, so what I want you to do is go ahead and try the problem on the right. And you can send me a private message when you think you have your answer. And then if you've got it right, you are free to go. If not, I'll have you stay until I go over it. I'm going to go over it in just a minute. So this one's a little bit different. Yeah, good, Maddie. Great job. This one's a little bit different because you can do one of 2 ways. You can subtract the x here, or if you're like me, I like to stick to addition. And so what I would do is I would add 2x. Yeah, good, Antoine. Great job. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. Okay, so I have to get all my variables. I'm going to draw a little line here to stay straight. All my variables on the same side. So I'm going to have 59 plus 1x plus 2x. So 1 plus 2 is 3. So that would be plus 3x equals 2. Did I lose anybody there? Marcel, you're right. Sapphire, great job. You're right. Very good. Yeah, good, Skylar. Good job. Alrighty. So now I need to undo what's happening to x. So x is being multiplied by 3, and then I'm adding 59 to it. So remember, we're going opposite of PEMDAS. So I'm going to subtract 59 from both sides. Adrena, great job. You got it. Okay. So I would get 3x equals -57. And now, again, I find x. What's happening to it? It's being multiplied by 3. So to undo the multiplication, I'm going to divide by 3. So x is going to be negative 19. All right, that is all that I have for y'all. Please feel free to, yay, good, Liv. Email me with any questions you still have. I'll work on getting those homework grades updated for those of you that got them done. And then don't forget that you have a quiz over this stuff. You have a quiz in the course today. So y'all have a great day, and I will see you next Tuesday.